Hi, everyone. I'm Peter NG, and welcome back to Catching Up, the podcast where conversations don't end when the bells ring. If you're new here, make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Catching Up Podcast for clips, updates, and behind the scenes content. Today, I'm reconnecting with Mason Vilsaint. He's retired from the Army as a military police officer, now attending Embry-Riddle Aeronautical. He's looking to become a commercial pilot. I'm really excited to learn more about that, especially what your dream airline would be to potentially work with. But Mason, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. We have a nice long weekend ahead of us, school wise. Tomorrow is like a student holiday.
Okay.
So even though we're this close to the end of the school year, I don't. I'm not gonna be upset about a gift this late in.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So we got a little chance to relax a little more. I saw that you had some information shared in your that you wanted to share in the intro. I'll just read it verbatim because honestly, you gave me quite a bit here, and then we can kind of work with that.
Okay, yeah.
You said in high school you were pretty unsure about your future. As a junior, you made the decision to sign with the Army. Just a few days after graduating, you went into basic training, went out to serve for 3.5 years. And then you said one day out of the blue, you wanted to completely change your life path and wanted to look into becoming a pilot with
Yes.
no prior experiences. Were you in ROTC at
No,
TC?
actually, my dad talked to me about it, and I didn't think it was cool back then. I played a lot of sports and everything, so
Mm-hmm.
I was fairly busy, and I just kind of didn't see myself going down that path ever. So I didn't think it was something I was gonna do.
Got you. Yeah, I only asked because, like, you obviously had that military experience and the ROTC program at Timber Creek is Air Force ROTC, and
Yeah,
now
and it's
you're Embry
great too.
Riddle. So I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot of mesh there, but I also get that it's not always like a one linear path for people.
Yeah.
So that totally makes sense. But yeah, this final little bit here, you said you took a leap of faith, and now you're at one of the top aeronautical universities, and yeah, Embry Riddle is world renowned
Yes.
for what they're capable of in the field of aeronautics and piloting.
Yes,
So
definitely.
let's get into that. I'm really interested to hear where the passion stemmed from for you to become a pilot.
We could start with, I would took your class in I think it was 2020,
That
21.
sounds right because you graduated 2021, so I
Yeah,
think you were a junior when you took my
yeah.
class.
So I was a
Yeah, yeah,
junior, and this was right before COVID, or that COVID year.
that's
I
right.
actually had you, which
You were with Carter as well, right?
I
You were in
was
that
I
same
was with
group.
Carter, Ethan.
Yeah,
We all
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
sat in the corner.
Y'all were a
Yeah,
handful, but not in a
yeah.
bad way.
And that's what I hoped, because I was a little all over the place, especially around that time. But yeah, I hope I wasn't too much of a pain.
No, not at all. Not at all. I much prefer. I was telling Carter this in our episode. I much prefer a kid who's a little more class clown
Yeah,
versus the opposite spectrums of like a kid who never says a word to me and
yeah,
just disconnects, or someone who's actively disrupting everything, and
yeah.
that becomes a whole nother nuisance. But I never email your parents or anything like
No,
that.
no, no, no. And I felt like it was a good group of people to be around because they kept me focused, and they're both two really smart individuals.
Yeah.
So they always stayed on me about it. But yeah, so I took your class, and around that time was kind of like a rough time in my life around that period of high school, just because I lived out of the district. I really wasn't supposed to be going to Timber Creek,
Mm.
but me and my mom, we talked about it, and unfortunately, we had to move to like the other side of town, and we figured, hey, let's keep you there, let's keep you comfortable.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's a good environment, it's a melting pot,
How far
and
was your commute?
it was about a 40-minute drive,
Mm.
45-minute drive every morning. So, in high school, you start at what, 6:30, 7 in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. That's my commute now. I live in Winter Springs. It's
Yeah,
about 40, 45. Yeah.
yeah. So, and the way we would do it was, she would drop me off at my old neighborhood. So I would have to wake up super early, you know, go get dropped off there, wait for the bus, take the bus to school. So there was a lot behind the scenes. And COVID ended up happening, and it was great. a lot of people say they didn't enjoy it, but it was great for me, because I got to speak with our my dad always had the vision of, in high school years of me going to live with him. My
Mhm.
parents are divorced. They had me at a very young age. They were around 18.
Oh
Um,
wow.
but they have a great relationship too,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it
that's
was
good.
never an issue. But he lived on in Claremont, on like the Polk County side area, and he wanted me to, move with him in high school because he felt like there were some things that he could teach me before I stepped out into the real world. So, COVID happened, or it was spring break, and I went there for the week as I normally would, and we start hearing about COVID, and he's like, "Yeah, you're not going to go back to school." And usually when he says something, for some reason, it always comes true. His like manifestation skills are
Yeah,
really good.
very wise person.
Yeah, so I was like, "Yeah, whatever, whatever." And he's like, "You're not going back," and I was like, "All right." So you know, our spring break keeps getting extended, and casually, I'm bringing more stuff from my mom's house to his
Mhm,
house,
mhm.
little by little, until, I had enough stuff where I was like sustained. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna move here and
Yeah,
I'll go completely virtual. Like, because I always wanted to graduate from Timber Creek. I always wanted it on my diploma.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I played sports all year round, because it was kind of like a daycare for me. And then with that, like I didn't have to worry about sports, and the online school was gave me freedom. Like, I'm a night owl, so it
Mhm.
allowed me to stay up all night and do my schoolwork, sleep during the day. I ended up getting a job, and it just really, propelled me forward.
Nice.
Um, I was, you kind of reach the end of junior year and you start looking into senior year. People start, getting college offers and
Right, right.
whatnot for sports, and I was looking and I wasn't getting anything. Uh, and I was getting a little nervous. My dad was kind of just putting in my ear, like, I'm not paying for college. Like, you're a good student, but you're not a great student. So I'm there, I'm not gonna take the gamble, which I don't blame him now.
Yeah, yeah.
So I didn't really have an option. And one day, an army recruiter called me, and he's like, "Hey, how do you feel about joining the army?" And I told him, and I was like, I'd much rather join the Air Force, or I'd much rather go to college and join later. And he's like, with the army, I can let you choose your job. I can get you in at, three ranks above a private. He guaranteed me a lot of different things, and I was very
Sure.
skeptical. And I was like, and I told my dad, and my dad joined the army, fresh out of high school too. So he was instantly like, no, it's not happening. And I was like, let's just hear him out. Let's just see what he has to say. So me and my mom went to the recruiter, and he sold it to her. She was like, I know the type of student you are. This is perfect.
When they called you, was it just like a cold call, like out of nowhere?
Yeah, it was a cold. Because I worked at a car wash, and oddly enough, I'm in the shower and I get a phone call, and I'm like, like, you have that weird feeling where you're like, should I pick this up? Should I not pick
Yeah,
this up? And
okay.
I was like, all right, let me pick it up. And he gives me the whole spiel. Hey, this is Staff Sergeant such and such with the U.S. Army, and I was like, oh, great. And I just ended up hearing him out, and it really, like, I don't know. It just touched me. Like, I was like, yeah, maybe this is what I should do.
Sure.
I was able to sign like a future soldiers contract, which, signing that contract a year before I joined, essentially said after graduation, I'll ship out.
Mm.
And that guaranteed me that I would reach the rank of, like, private second class, PV2, which is like a little pay raise, and it kind of propels your career forward. And then he gave me the option, if I got someone else to join, that I would also become a private first class. So now I'm three ranks in, and I'm getting paid more, and I actually have like some rank and authority day one, which was really cool. So I ended up getting another student to join, and
I didn't even know they did that. So they have like I'm not trying to call it pyramid scheme, but it
yeah,
is kind of like
it's
referral.
essentially, yeah, it's essentially kind of like a pyramid scheme because that
Wow.
person's name is under your name. Luckily, they're a
Oh,
great soldier, and they actually like ended up going beyond me.
okay.
Like,
So that was like a good thing for
so it
them.
was great. It was
Okay.
great. And yeah, so I ended up, talking to him, and I ended up taking the ASVAB in
Yep.
school, and I did decent. And he was like, what do you want to do? So he gave me a list of jobs, and me and my mom sat down and we looked at them all. And one of the jobs was military police. My dad's a police officer, and I was like, this is in the blood. Like it kind of, I'm kind of like with COVID. I don't like to really be like have someone over top of me tell me what to do. So with the military police, I put two and two together. Hey, I'm in a patrol car by myself, so I'm driving around by myself. Yeah, I have sergeants and people above me, but 90% of the day I'm doing what I want to do.
You have
So
more autonomy.
yeah, so I was like, this is perfect, and I get to drive for free. So
And your role was, so as a military police officer, is it like you're on base ensuring that like nothing, no laws are being broken, and you know,
yeah, that's exactly what it is. So have you ever been on a military base?
yeah, I have well, my older brother, he was in the Air Force,
Oh, perfect. Okay.
and then my cousin was in the Marines for a long time, and we
Okay.
visited him quite a number of times. I think the
Yeah.
last base we visited was in South Carolina.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So you actually like know like it's like a mini city.
Yeah.
I never went on a military base until the day I joined, surprisingly. So I had no clue, but it's literally a mini city. Most soldiers work kind of like a 9 to 5 schedule.
Hmm.
So you have your malls, your restaurants, everything you would picture in like in Orlando environment is kind of like how it is on base.
Yeah.
So we are like police officers on base. We're actively patrolling, and there is like real world crimes quite frequently on the base. So
Oh, I don't think you ever expect that, because you're expecting the organization and the order of like how military tends to be, but
yeah,
yeah, it makes sense. And
yeah, that was something that surprised me too, is because I'm a fresh 18, 19-year old, and I'm having to arrest someone who's been in the army for 20 years with actual combat
man,
experience, and they're wanting to fight me and do this and that,
sure,
and it's
sure.
like, wow, like
How does like rank work at that case? Like, these are people that are typically, I'd imagine, higher ranked than you. So do they try to pull that, or
yes, that gets pulled all the time, and
oh,
there's a thing that they tell you in training, because the training is super long, and it's like there's been cases where privates, arrest someone who's really high rank, and they're like, "Hey, don't get your rank confused with my authority," and that's like a red. Like you shouldn't say that, but in reality, your authority outranks all of their rank at the end of the day
on the base,
on the
because
base.
you're an officer, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it makes sense. I also get where there's that like gray zone of who's in charge of who,
exactly.
and they think they can kind of get away with whatever they want. But you still got to play by the rules, and it's important to have people in those positions. I want to continue this conversation because this is really interesting to me, but I
Yes.
don't want to get too far from one of our segments I like to ask early.
Yeah.
So something I like to ask all my guests is, what's something that you learned today? So if you want, you can go ahead and start, and then I'll follow you up.
Okay. So this is gonna be kind of like on the pilot spectrum. So today I had my instrument flying class. Basically, that's when you fly inside of the clouds or inside severe weather, usually just solely using your instruments, whether that be a screen or glass instruments. Basically, there's inside your vestibular system. I hope I'm saying that right.
The
Your ear.
vestibules, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
inside of
Look
your
at you.
ear.
You got something from my class. Okay.
Exactly. Inside of your ear, there's fluid and whatnot,
Hmm.
and it moves. So when you don't have your senses of your eyes, because you're in a cloud or you're in severe weather, uh, you get it's like a sensation called the leans,
Hmm.
and when you turn the aircraft, you turn it for a set amount of time, whether this be in like a holding pattern waiting to land or you making a course correction or whatnot, and you'll do that for a period of time, and that fluid will move in your ear, and then it will kind of stabilize itself. So when you correct yourself, you'll feel like you're still spinning, and that causes a lot of accidents actually. So
Oh
I learned
wow.
about that today.
Were you in the plane when you were practicing this, or was this like a simulation?
So I have experienced it in the plane one time, but this wasn't in severe weather or anything. It was actually a
Okay.
clear day. But I turned the plane at a 30-degree bank, and you're looking straight down essentially, um, out of your left side when you're doing that. And once I straightened the plane out, I felt like I was still spinning, so I was kind of throwing the yoke in the
Hmm.
opposite direction, and my instructor was like throwing it back, like, "Hey,
What
watch
are you
out!"
doing?
Yeah, but we also we also have like simulators and VR, which we use.
Yeah, yeah. The ROTC guys in our hall in my hallway,
Yeah.
um, they always joke with me. They're like, "Just let us know, and we'll hook you up." I'm like, it looks
Yeah.
intimidating, but maybe one day before I'm all done there, I'll get on and try to see if I can take off a plane or land a
You
plane.
should. Yeah, definitely.
But I'll jump into my fun fact.
Yes.
This was a pretty interesting one, so I just looked up something interesting to learn today, and this is kind of wild. So Cleopatra, very famous figure in ancient Egypt, she had, based on when she was around and like the timing of everything,
Yeah.
she lived closer to the moon landing than the construction of the Great Pyramids.
Wow, that's actually
So the Great Pyramids were built around 2560 BC, and
okay.
Cleopatra lived around 30 BC, whereas the moon landing was 1969. So it's close, but
Yeah.
about 2,000 years between her life and the moon landing, and about 2,500 years between her life and the pyramids. And you wouldn't think that because you associate the Great Pyramids with ancient Egypt,
Exactly.
but yeah, it's kind of wild to think just how far back in the empire's history of ancient Egypt that these monuments were constructed and were there, and kind of putting into perspective of like human existence in the timeline.
Yeah, that's wow. That kind of like blew my mind right there.
Pretty cool, huh? So hey, if you need a fun fact,
That was a great one. Whoa.
okay, okay. So I really was super interested in your journey that you were talking about. So you mentioned you were in the military, you were in the army, you got that officer experience.
Mhm.
You said you were in for 3 years, right?
Yes, yeah, three
Okay,
years.
so what happened in those 3 years that kind of changed your mindset of, okay, maybe I want to move into something else, and especially becoming a pilot?
Yeah, so with my career path as a military police officer, you sign an automatic 5-year contract, and that's due to all the experience and how much money they put into you. It's actually estimated that they put in like I want to say like $2 million into each soldier with the amount of training, gear, and everything that you have as a military police officer. So they want that 5-year guarantee. So backtracking a little bit, after we told my or got my dad on board, he said, I think this is a good idea. How about you treat it like college? You do 3 years, and after the 3 years, we come back, we reassess, and we see, hey, do you want to keep going or do you want to go to college? But like I said, we signed that 5-year contract, so it wasn't an option. But one day, while performing PT, we were getting ready for our deployment to Europe, and we're doing a group PT session early in the morning. I was a really good runner. I was running about 12-minute 2 mile, right around there, maybe just
Wow.
under. Yeah, very very
You
fast.
were you also cross country and track?
No, so I didn't do track in high school. I did it in middle school, but I wrestled, I played lacrosse, I played football, so I was pretty fit, and I was a very good distance runner, like
Distance.
breathing
Okay.
wise. Yeah. So I was running actually the company fastest 2 mile. It was like
Wow.
I said, 12-minute 2 mile, maybe just above 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, so we were running in a group, and when you're kind of in a formation run, you get kind of slingshotted if you're in the middle of the pack. So I used to like to either run in the very front, in the rear, or off to the side. But this day we were feeling very hua hua, and my platoon sergeant basically was like, "Hey, like stay with us, stay in the middle. We want to let the slower guys get in front." And I kept telling him like, "Hey, sergeant, this isn't a very good idea. Like, my running cadence is off. I can feel it kind of. It's kind of weird." And he's like, "Hey, stick with us. If you fall out, like you're gonna be in trouble, whatever." So I was kind of getting frustrated, and we're running, and I kind of get slingshotted, and I take a weird step with my left leg,
Oh,
and instantly hear like a loud pop,
yeah.
and instantly I knew something was wrong. So I kind of like stumble and I fall out, and he freaks out instantly because he heard it too, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Hey, this isn't good." And he's like, "Do you think you can finish?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think I can finish." So ended up.
Even with a serious injury. I mean, I guess the
Yeah,
adrenaline and endorphins were rushing through you, but
yeah. I just was when I run. or well, when I, you know, could run, essentially, it was let's get it over the fastest. Like, the faster I get it over with, the faster I can do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
So I kind of just pushed through, and they sent me to, the hospital afterwards to go get checked out, and they couldn't really find anything with the X-rays because an X-ray is not going to show anything. But the MRIs were so backed up, and that was one thing that was really frustrating to me was because I was like, how can Tom Brady get an X-ray or an MRI in the first quarter?
Yeah, right.
And by the second quarter, we know everything that's wrong with him.
Yeah.
But it takes me a month or two to get an
That's
MRI.
crazy. Wow.
Yeah, so I was livid, and I was in so much pain, and ended up eventually getting the MRI, and they're like, "Hey, I think there's something wrong with your meniscus." So after that, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna schedule you for a scope, like
Mhm.
to go in there and check it out." And I was very against surgery because I never really had a surgery before,
Sure.
and they're like, "Hey, it's like you room clearing. It's something you do every day. Like you know how to clear a room, and there's no issues." So he kind of like sweet talked me a little bit, and I was adamant about going to like a sports professional or someone with more experience.
Mhm.
And long story short, I ended up going with a military doctor, and he ended up messing up my meniscus even worse.
Even
And
worse.
yeah,
That was just in the procedure to see everything?
yeah, that was just to
Wow.
see. He ended up cleaning it up, and as he was cleaning it up, he ended up messing it up, and then they gave me like I forget what it's called now, a nerve blocker, and they gave me like 3 or 4 doses of the nerve blocker, and they really were only supposed to give me one, and it ended up giving me really bad, like almost like paralyzing my left quad.
Wow.
Yeah,
What is the, like, ramifications of this? Like, obviously, doctors are human. They can make mistakes and stuff, but, like, in the standard field of medicine, that
yeah.
would be considered malpractice.
Definitely, and it definitely was, and it got swept under the rug for a long time. And I wasn't the first person who this happened to. They ended up letting me go to off post for therapy, and I was in Louisiana at the time. It wasn't the greatest area of Louisiana. It's like real deep south,
Sure.
um, which it was cool, like being in the country. It was a great experience, but their resources were very limited as well. But luckily, I found a good team, and they even said it like I'm not the first person they've seen come in with the same
Oh,
injury.
man.
This is just something that doctor is
Has had
pretty consistent.
issues. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really sad to hear. But there was ultimately nothing really I could do besides ride it out and wait for them to decide on if they wanted to keep me or let me go.
How did that impair your movement? Like, was walking okay, or
I was on crutches for around a year.
wow.
And in the knee brace that they give you fresh out of surgery, I was in
Mhm.
that brace for maybe 2 years, maybe like a year and a
2
half
years. Oh, man,
in the
that's
brace. Yeah,
brutal.
yeah.
Wow.
So
So
it
was it a
was,
medical discharge eventually from
yeah. Eventually, the doctor kind of asked me. He was like, what do you want? And I was like, hey, I think I gave you guys the benefit of the doubt, and we got here. I can't perform my duties as a soldier. Can you let me go? And he said, yeah, like I'm gonna let you go, but you have to promise me you go to college and you actually make something out of this, like be somebody.
Sure.
So I gave him that promise. Hey, I'll figure something out.
Does the doctor have to be the one to, like, acknowledge or, like, approve the medical discharge?
Yeah, it's a process.
Okay.
Ultimately, once you sign your life on that paper, they're in full control. So,
Sure. Okay.
um,
Gotcha.
it was still a process afterwards, and luckily they saw it through because there was a couple other medical professionals who, or well, professionals quotation,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
wanted to keep me in just for the numbers.
Oh, I see. What year did you get out?
I got out. Was it 2024? 20? It was like in between 2024, 2023 ish,
Okay.
or no, 2024, 2025. I might be confused. I'm not.
Okay, but I mean, you
I did. Yeah, I did about 3.5 years. So whatever the math. Pilots don't know math. Surprisingly.
okay. And a good amount of that time from what you shared was injured, so you kind of had to be, not at 100% anyway.
Yeah, and that luckily I was fortunate enough to, make a good name for myself before I got injured, as a very high speed soldier, and I
Yeah.
was in the process of getting fast tracked to become a sergeant and a leader. I was actually leading a team at that time
Mm.
of soldiers, which was really big to me because I'm like 20 years old, like, and I got older people listening to me, in
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I never, had a power trip of any sort, but it was cool. So yeah, that was strange.
I got you. So after leaving the army, the medical discharge, Embry-Riddle was next, and aiming to become a pilot. So was that always something that you were into, or you just started searching, soul searching a little bit?
Yeah, so I actually have a fear of heights.
Oh, wow.
I hate heights. I hate like roller coasters. I hate
Yeah, yeah.
everything to do with heights. But one day I was in my bed and I was on FaceTime and I was just like, no, maybe well, like, it would be awesome if you could become a pilot. Like, you get so much freedom. You
Hmm.
get to see the world from a perspective that nobody ever gets to see. It's challenging, and you also have that respect of like a military member, like a
Of
service member.
course. Yeah.
So it's very prestigious. And I was like, let me look into it. And then I started seeing like school's $100,000. How am
Wow.
I gonna do this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like this is a lot of work.
Did you get GI Bill technically through Army?
Yeah, so there's
Okay.
actually some programs which I was able to keep my GI Bill, so I'm not even using my GI Bill, but I'm getting the same benefits of the
Mm,
GI Bill.
okay.
So my school is completely covered. Essentially, you can think of it as like I'm on a scholarship.
Gotcha.
So it was
Nice.
it's
Okay.
it's been a great opportunity, and I'm not taking it for granted at all.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of crazy that like, you had do you still have a fear of heights?
Yeah, I do. I really
Wow,
do.
okay. So even with the fear of heights, like you kind of found something to be passionate about and now you're pursuing it. And
Yeah.
how was it that first time that you're in control of the plane? Like you obviously had someone with you, but
Yeah, so I had my instructor, IP Mao. He's great. He's a great instructor. I believe he's from Korea.
okay.
And that first flight was actually my first flight ever in like a smaller aircraft, like the one that I have right here,
Yeah, yeah.
next to me, a Cessna 172. Um, and I was very nervous, like because he just applied the power and it just took off, and it's not like a big airline jet where in the wind, like you can feel every little bump.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking down as he's like, pulling up, and I just see sky, and then out the left window, I see the ground just like shrinking,
Oh,
and I kind of get like that pit in my stomach, and
sure,
he
sure.
looks over at me, he's like, "Are you okay?" And I just kind of look at him like side eye, and I'm like, "Mm-hmm." And he's like, he's like, "Okay, well, you're gonna be flying the plane here." And mind you, this was only my first week of
Wow.
school, and after getting us in the air, he gives me the controls, and he's like, "All right, you're gonna fly the plane." And he could tell I was like super nervous,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he kind of takes the controls back, and he shows me what the aircraft can do. So he like drops us out of the sky and puts us in these crazy maneuvers, stalls
Wow,
the
very cool.
aircraft. Yeah,
Where was this in Daytona area?
yeah. So this is in
Okay.
Daytona, heading north towards like Ormond area.
Okay. Gotcha.
So yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so, how many hours do you have now of recorded flight time?
So I flew a lot during the summer. With the weather, kind of threw me out a little bit, so I should
Hmm.
have more hours. But I'm right around, I think, 60 to 70 hours. I would think. This semester I didn't get to fly at all, just because I had some problems signing up with classes,
Mm.
so I couldn't get into a flight block. But I start up this summer, so
Okay. And how many hours total do you need?
to be a commercial pilot, you need about 1,000 hours, which
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
behind, but I'm not stressing it out too much because I can fly 7 days a week if I want to, and
That's true.
that's
It
gonna
adds
be the
up.
plan. Yeah, that's gonna be
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
plan this summer. So
Okay. Okay. And I guess finally, before we reflect back on that high school experience, you mentioned you wanted to become a commercial pilot.
yeah,
Would there be a dream airline for you to work with?
yeah. I am kind of torn because I want to be commercial, but I also want to be private.
Mm.
But I had a great talk with a United recruiter, and it was great.
Yeah.
The only thing was I don't have a LinkedIn yet, so
Ah, you got to get on
yeah,
that.
that instantly killed it, and I saw like the disappointment in his face. So either United or private would be like a flex
Okay.
jet or NetJet or something
I
like
mean,
that.
but you're still so early in the process that like you can form a LinkedIn tomorrow. Like
Exactly,
that's fine.
exactly. I'll see
That's
this
cool
guy
though,
so
man.
many more times throughout
Yeah,
the
and if you
school.
have
So
his contact info, just shoot out a
exactly,
little request and good to go.
yeah.
Okay, all right. So flying on United. I give us your best pilot voice if you were in charge of the plane right now. We're at ascending or getting close to that 10,000 feet, right? That's where you're cruising
Yeah.
altitude.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
give us your
So
best pilot voice.
I don't really have one. Well, when I'm in the plane, so my mic sits like really close to my mouth,
Yeah.
and I just whisper into it. It's a weird pilot thing, but I'll usually be like, uh, "All right, this is Riddle 172. We're flying at flight level 10, and we'll be ready for our descent." Like just kind of
Okay.
whispering in the microphone.
I
But
mean,
my headset sounds different too. So
that's true. That's true. You need to have like there's that certain cadence with like a pilot's voice of like
yeah,
you really stretch out words and you really want to calm the crew and well not the crew their experience it's more the
the
people the
passengers.
passengers that are there some of them might be like oh my god I hate flying anyway and what am I supposed to do and it's like we're fine we're chill
Yeah,
okay
that's yeah.
maybe even like have like a unique call sign
Yeah, that would be cool too.
I like that. I like that. Okay, you'll be one of those pilots that gets famous on TikTok because someone's recording. And they're like, "Hey, I'm on this plane.
Yeah,
I'm on Mason's
I
plane."
wanna have funny speeches, when I
That'll
talk
be
to the
cool.
passengers,
Get a
so
good
yeah.
opportunity to be a little charismatic and stuff.
Yeah.
I've spoken to a friend of a friend. We've had some dinners every once in a while, and he's a pilot. His fiance is steward,
Oh, awesome.
and he was telling me how on like super long flights it's not abnormal that he'll bring a tablet and just be like watching Netflix or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, just to be clear, this is when we're cruising for hours. There's no bad weather. Everything's good. He's like, we are clearly like in control on the way up, on the way
Yeah.
down, bad weather, everything. I'm like, I never doubted you. I'm not thinking it's total autopilot up there, but
Yeah.
I did find it interesting. I'm like, it makes sense if you're on these flights because he's done like 8 hour plus flights.
Yeah.
It's that's the stamina and the endurance is meant like the mental fortitude for that is a lot.
It's a lot mentally. You'd be surprised. I finished these flights, and like you said, I'm on my iPad most of the flight, whether that's looking at the map or,
Hmm.
trying to figure things out, because essentially I'm flying the plane with my iPad in a sense.
Gotcha.
Uh, but yeah, I finished a flight. It might be like an hour and a half flight, and I'm exhausted, like instant,
Yeah,
like straight to
the
sleep.
mental. It's really like the mental gymnastics of your brain doing all these calculations and trying to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to. Because yeah, it's not easy.
No, not at all.
That's why it requires so many hours to qualify.
Yeah,
But like anything else in life, I feel like once you get enough experience, you learn that muscle memory of sorts, and you become more and more comfortable. And you ideally, in any sector, really, you ideally get to a point where even when things don't look good, you
yeah,
know how to handle that.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
that's cool. That's cool. I'm really glad that you've had the chance to already start to earn your wings in a way, and
Yeah.
going getting a great education experience. Are you living in Daytona Beach area now?
Yeah, I'm living in Daytona, kind of like just outside of Daytona.
Okay,
I have my own place, so that's
nice,
great,
nice.
and just kind of living the dream, honestly.
Hey, I mean, that's something Orlando doesn't have. We don't have beach access that quick. It's like
No, not at
30,
all.
45 minutes, but you could probably walk to a beach if you wanted
Yeah, it's not
to.
bad. It's not bad.
Okay, very nice. So, Mason, while we're here, a big focus of the podcast is reflection on our high school years and our teenage years.
Yeah,
Um, when you think back to high school, it could be a moment from my class, it could be a moment from any part of high school years. Is there a moment that stands out to you?
I can't, like everyone kind of says with this podcast, I can't really find a specific moment, but more so just high school in general. I'm very like thankful and proud that I was able to be as outgoing as possible. Timber Creek is one of those very rare environments where um, I feel like if you're not outgoing, you're kind of get left in the dust. So it's
It's a
kind of
big
like,
school.
yeah,
There's a lot
and
of kids. Yeah.
the spirit, like the school spirit, everyone. Well, when I went, I felt like if you weren't participating, you were like kind of looked at funny,
Sure.
and you kind of, it pushed me to be very outgoing, and I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah, and you like so in the multi sports that you performed in. Well, first off, what sport would you say was your strongest?
Ah, wrestling definitely, because
Wrestling.
it
Okay.
it was just me, you know,
One on one. Yeah,
one on one.
true.
Yeah,
Um, in all those sports, you form that camaraderie with all your different, the players you're playing with, and the student athletes that they're there with.
yes,
And it's a lot of time. I think that's something that when I got a chance to talk with Caden, um, he played football and he's
yeah,
still pursuing football today.
he's doing great by
And
the way.
yeah,
Proud of
yeah,
him.
yeah. I mean, the stuff I see from him is incredible.
Yeah, very proud of him.
Um, but often, I think a lot of times people scoff at student athletes as, okay, well, you just care more about this or that. And I
Yes,
mean, yes, there are times like that where certain student athletes are just so dead set on, I don't care about school, I'm just doing this. But many, many times, a lot of those student athletes are trying to balance all aspects of what it takes to be good at your sport, improve at your
yes,
sport, and the academics and the social aspects. And if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, all these things
exactly,
are like, it's a really big test of time management. Uh,
exactly.
and it's not just them. I know there's other groups. Like I've had a ton of kids in theater and chorus, and when their performances start to really ramp up, they'll tell me like, "Hey, I need a little more time on these assignments
Yeah,
because I'm up till 1 o'clock in the morning." I'm like, "No, I hear you,
yeah,
good," but yeah, it, people got a lot going on. It's not
exactly.
easy, and you kind of have to learn that management. Um, but yeah, it's cool that you were able to be as social as you were and interact with different groups of people through your experiences.
Yeah.
You still keep up with people from TC?
Yeah, definitely. I still keep up with, more so kind of like the same friend group that I grew up
Oh,
with.
really?
But
Cool.
yeah, yeah, and also just, I still have a lot of people on social media and
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah. I
So
get to check in, see what they're up to and stuff.
yeah, so I
Okay.
and the school, like I said, is very diverse. Playing all the sports, being in student government, being really involved in the school, I met a lot of different people in
Yeah.
all aspects of the school. So
I mean, truly, you kind of sounded like a poster child for like a high school kid,
yeah,
because you
yeah,
did it all.
I did. Yeah, I really did. Surprisingly, like
Okay.
with
Okay.
everything that I was going through that around that time, like I just, I really would pat myself on the back as like a my 16-year-old self because
Oh, well, we're about to get there. So let's move on to our next major segment.
okay.
Um, this is another question I love asking all my guests as well. But if you had the chance to sit in front of yourself, so a younger Mason, about 16, 17 years of age, what would you tell him?
The main thing I would tell him is like I'm very proud of everything that you went through. Being so far away from the school and not having the greatest home environment at that time, but still, staying focused on sports and staying focused, being involved with the school, letting the school basically become a daycare for you and using the community around you to become a family and drive me and, give me a sense of direction. So I'd be really proud to tell them that. And then also I would say, good thing, good at be like I'm proud of you for not falling into peer pressure. Whether that be in high school or in the military, they say military service members are, big alcoholics, big
Sure.
smokers, and I'm proud of myself for never falling into that trap. And being around people who, when people try to push me in that direction, saying, "Hey, don't ask him again," and if you ask him again, there's gonna be a problem. Like, so
Good friends. Yeah.
yeah, I'm very proud of my friends and everyone, everything.
Okay. So, I mean, it sounds like you had a lot of perseverance. Obviously,
Yeah.
you were able to push through and push yourself in different positions and feel successful. Do you feel like if you could go through all that again, would you have done army knowing how things turn out today?
100%. I can't even
Okay.
lie to you.
Okay,
100%.
that's
I
fair.
met
Yeah.
some of like my best friends, my brothers, my sisters, and people who really, gave me the foundation to even feel like I could go to Embry-Riddle as someone who barely had I graduated with basically like a 2.8 GPA.
I don't remember. Okay, right. Real quick, I don't
Yeah.
remember you like like super struggling in like high
Oh,
school.
I was struggling in your but you gave me a connection, and I felt very connected to you. That I was like, it was like almost like the father syndrome. Like, I know Coach Ewald used to say it. Like, I
Oh,
just can't let you down. So
I
I
feel
would
you. Okay,
genuinely like, if I was gonna study for any class, it was gonna be your class, and I just
that's
remember
about
like
it.
working my butt off just to get a good grade in this class,
I
and I
do
barely,
remember. No, no.
yeah.
I remember you got a
I feel like,
couple A's here and there, and like
yeah.
you were like at least 85, 86, 87 on most tests,
But
which
it was a grind.
hey, that's important.
Yeah.
I've had kids in class, over years tell me, "Oh, you're so smart. How did you learn all this?" I'm like, "Well, first of all, I've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of repetition. The human body isn't exactly changing that quickly."
No, not at all.
But second of all, I had to work. I had to
Yeah.
work really, really hard. My younger brother, um, I always joke with people that he's the brains of the family. I do think I'm a smart person,
Uh-huh.
relatively speaking,
Yeah.
but things never came easy to me. I had
Yeah.
to really work hard to earn everything. And you kind of learn like, okay, I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And even for the people who are naturally gifted, they do eventually reach that wall, and that's when they have to figure that out too,
It's like a plateau. I think your brother was saying something about that. Like going into college, you kind of hit that plateau, and
100%.
I think I did hit that my first semester. Like I said, I wasn't smart, but in high school you can kind of finesse your way through.
Oh, for sure.
Now
Finesse.
now now it's kind of like, okay, I actually need to like learn,
I
and
got
it's
you. I got you.
yeah.
One last question for that time is looking back. Is there something you could see now that you're proud of that back then you didn't realize?
I kind of touching back on the same thing. Like I'm just proud of staying focused, manifesting, and basically just getting everything I wanted. Just like having like a 5 year plan and
Yeah,
actually achieving that. And working towards that every day, just breaking it down to its simplest form, almost like a Lego set, and just
sure.
piece by piece getting there until eventually
It worked out.
it worked out. Yeah. So
Your story, it's very inspiring to me because I feel like a lot of kids in high school get so disenfranchised with what school is. And I'm the first person to say there's a lot of issues with our schooling system
yeah,
and how
big
things
advocate. Yeah.
yeah, and how things should change. However, I feel like so often kids don't give these sectors a chance. Like you said, you did sports, you were a student government, you went to the social events, you did all the things that you could.
Mhm.
And yes, for you, it that worked so wonderfully because you, like you said, it was like that daycare of sorts. Like you were able
Yeah.
to do more at school and not be as home as often, and that helped in all sorts of ways.
Yes.
That doesn't have to be the case for everyone, obviously, but like for all these kids out there that drag their feet on a day-to-day basis and it's just agony. It's not even like I have friends and at least I'm with my friends, or at least there's certain classes I like. It's just everything about it feels agonizing.
Yes.
That's where I feel so sad for them. It's like, man, I was just talking about this in an episode I recorded recently.
Mhm.
Humans instinctively are bound for learning. We come out the womb as a sponge, ready to learn as much as possible. It's
Yeah.
it's an unfortunate learned behavior where you feel like I don't want this. I don't want learning. I don't want education. I don't want any of this. And it's like, man, that's so sad.
It
But
is.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad you had that opportunity. And I truly mean this. If you had to show someone from a foreign country what it's like to be a high school student,
Yeah.
you're like the poster child for this. Like you cover that in all bases. So when they make the movie of like, hey, here's what it's like to be a high school kid, you never know. Maybe they'll cast somebody to be you. Who knows?
That would be awesome.
All right, Mason. So hey, we're getting close to the end here.
Yeah.
Um, a question I really like asking a lot of my guests as well is when now that we're, I mean, you're still in school, but you're in a different stage of school and certainly studying something way more specific.
Yes.
How do you determine growth nowadays? Because, back then, growth was so often a binary thing where it was just, are you passing your classes? Are you on time to class? How do you evaluate growth today?
Yeah. So my view on growth has definitely changed. I like I said, I kind of am set now. Like I have a house, I have cars, I have bikes, I have everything I want. So when I look at growth now and how I measure my growth, it's maturity wise. Like how can how am I maturing, and then how can I help the people around me? So being a freshman at the age of 23 is scary, because there's a bit of an age difference, and
Sure.
like my high school experience was definitely different than theirs, and the games I play, everything. But I've taken it upon myself to be a good mentor. Like, hey, how about you focus on this, or how about you look at this, and you might be going through something that you feel like the world's ending, but in reality, you'll look back on it, kind of like how I look back at high school, and like, hey, this is what shaped me to be who I am.
Hmm.
So
It's
I think
wisdom.
that's,
I mean,
yeah,
it's truly
definitely.
wisdom. And it's not that you're like my age, you're not in your 30s already and stuff, but like
No,
there is a big difference between you're already in your early 20s versus someone who's 18, bright eyed, thinking, okay, high school was a joke and I'm going to just dominate college. It's like, whoa, okay.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And just being that, I feel like I'm a normal student, like I said,
Mhm.
2.8 GPA out of high school. Like,
Right.
never pictured myself going to college, but, I'm here. Like, you can do the same thing, and, you can be that average person, but still achieve great things.
100%. 100%. And a lot of it is, work ethic and,
Exactly.
and being willing to put that time in and earn it and make your way there.
Yeah. Like Kevin Durant said, hard work beats talent.
Yeah,
So
true.
just buckle down and get it done. If you want it bad enough, you'll find a way to get it every single time.
100%. Well, Mason, I really appreciate you chatting with me. Is there any final statement you want to share with the audience?
I just want to say thank you for having me as a guest. Thank you for being such a great role model, in that community
Appreciate it.
aspect. Everyone had their piece of the puzzle, and I'm very very thankful for what you did for me and being a great safe outlet that I had.
I really appreciate it. Honestly, I take a lot of pride in what I've done, and I don't know if teaching will be my thing for the rest of my life, but
Yeah.
I can acknowledge that the people I've been able to spend my time with, I do think I've influenced positively.
Yes.
Not everyone, I know that for sure, but at least more than less. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I think I've done the responsible thing of trying to be a good person and show that. And as I say in the beginning of my school year, I know not everyone in the class is there to become a doctor, a nurse, or a medical professional, but I
No.
want this time to feel valuable for you.
Yes, and one more thing is,
Oh, one more
if
thing. All right,
any
go.
students are listening, the anatomy will find its way in your life one way or the other. Whether that's you're a military police officer and you have to learn anatomy, or you're a pilot and you're still learning anatomy, it's gonna find its way.
It's
So
almost like we're learning about us. We are
exactly,
all human after all.
exactly.
Well, once again, Mason, thank you so much for being here and catching up with me today. If
Yes.
you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who could use a reminder that growth isn't always linear. And follow us on Instagram at the Catching Up Podcast for clips every Friday and new episodes every Wednesday. Thank you for listening to Catching Up, where conversations continue beyond the classroom. I'll see you next time.